Welcome back to The Grind. In this video, we are going to review the easiest completion path for Act 6, Chapter 2, Map 1. Now, this one was fairly easy, and I was excited to keep chipping away at it until I realized that Mr. Sinister in the next map is completely ridiculous. So I have to wait until I get a few very specific champions as 5 stars, which is pretty frustrating. Anyways, you come to this right node here, and you teleport over to A. And then you go over to this easy pass with Makela, whatever her name is, and then basically the Marvels and Ronin at the end. So we're going to go in and take a look at the global node, which is not too difficult, but kind of tedious at the end. It can be, especially if you haven't knocked down the opponent very many times. It's called life cycle, which means that at the very end, you have to knock them down, and for a short window of time, they can be killed. Otherwise, they will prevent them from dying, and if you actually take them to what would be below health while the shield is active, they'll heal 10% of their max health. And then all the nodes are a little bit different. This one, actually all of them have Pessimist on this route, which is not too bad. And then each has their own local node. This one is Pilfer, which I never actually had to worry about. But basically, every buff that you gain, there's a chance that it will be removed and grant them power. So you want to be careful about that. And honestly, it's best to just bait out special 1. So you shouldn't get to a point where you're stuck with this. But just keep that in mind and be careful. So you can see that for the most part, once I get going, don't really need to dex that much because you can dash back and bait out the special a little bit early. And once you get into a rhythm, I was doing that pretty much the entire fight. And Blade is awesome because he gains energy while being close to the opponent who's bleeding. So I was pretty much able to get my power and special attack frequently. But you can see there I dexed twice and I didn't activate the Pilfer, so I didn't really have to worry about this at all. I dexed again there. We're going to skip to the end because it's a pretty boring fight, but pretty much didn't have to worry about the local node here, and this Kamala Khan is not that buffed up. The fight just takes a little while because it is pretty high level. And then at the very end, you can see once you knock them down, you get that timer, and so you got to kill them while that is on cooldown. Next is Miss Marvel, and her local buff is cornered, so anytime there's a debuff, she will gain more power. So use a power control champion or someone who doesn't debuff very much. Then we have Captain Marvel, who has bubble shield, so the more times you block, it builds up to 10, and then the next attack on you is unblockable. So the best way to avoid this is to not block. And so some ways that you can avoid blocking is just to bait out the specials, a special 1 ideally, so you can bait out more and get more free attacks. A couple other ways is attack into a block to build their power up to a special so that you can get a free combo in after baiting out the special. And you can bait out heavy attacks, which you do by attacking into a block and then pausing with a block right away so that they throw a heavy attack and then you dodge back and go in. You got to be prepared for a regular attack as well. And I have a video that I'll put in the description that goes over baiting heavies a little bit more detail. Next is Captain Marvel movie, and she generates 2 extra charges when blocking, being struck, or activating special 1, otherwise pretty basic fight. And then finally on this part of the path is Ronin, and he has aspect of death, so after activating a special attack, his next attack for 4 seconds is lethal. So you do not want to get hit, and with Blade, he sometimes avoids it, but here's the death touch, and then it has a timer, so just avoid getting hit by him for a few seconds, 4 seconds to be exact, and then go back in. Then you'll teleport over to Dormammu, and I always hate Dormammu, but with Blade it makes the fight a lot easier. And the local nodes aren't too crazy, but Burden of Might is annoying because when you activate a buff, you lose power. And so that's not ideal. You don't want to have a champion that uses a lot of buffs. So I'm going to let the videos play out all my fights. This first one with Dormammu, I've cut it a little bit short. I did struggle at the very end because I couldn't get him during that period of the downtime of that annoying global node. Then we'll go on to the boss fight, and following that will be the full fights of all the regular lane fights. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you next time.